So back here on the run, and today we're getting out quite early. It's only 7:30 in the morning, and I'm on track to having the first day with no procrastination, which is huge, because it's something that I'd struggle with out of constant. Instead of hitting the alarm, the snooze button, kind of laid there in bed as, I had a pretty rough night. I only laid there in bed for about 10 minutes just to kind of think about, what I was dreaming. And as I have pretty much come to stop smoking weed, which is a very big thing for me. I have been a daily smoker, 8 years of my life pretty much, with a couple of intermediate stops for job positions, and that's pretty much it. And most of the time I just end up using fake piss like most smokers. And yesterday was the first day of the week that I didn't have my kid, and she called me quite a bit, wanted to show me a bunch of stuff, and so happy. And I had my family come over, and we had a family game night with the sisters, and they were talking about their weddings. They were talking about all the stuff that they're getting ready and everything, and how much, just how excited they are to just be the belle of the ball. And I'm so happy for them, and it just makes me so happy to be a part of it. And I'm going to be an usher in one of my sister's weddings, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm even thinking about, starting up the breakdancing a little bit again. When I was out in North Dakota, I did a couple of months of breakdancing with a buddy that ended up moving in with me because he was a professional breakdancer at one point and did it for 9 years. And so he was teaching me quite a bit. So I'm going to probably try to get back into that a little bit because I really enjoy dancing. I love it so much. I love doing the salsa. I love doing the mambo. I love doing the chicken dance. I just enjoy it. And as we were sitting there talking about all that stuff, it's something that I want. It's something that I desire, and it's something that I want with Alexis, my ex-girlfriend. I want more kids too, and as we were talking about all that stuff, I just really started thinking about my engagement proposal that, I wanted to do. And in the past, me and Alexis had talked about it, and we had agreed of what we're going to do. And instead of surprising her and making her feel like she's the only one that matters in the entire world, and just trying to do that made me realize I should have been the person to surprise her more, been the person to have her back more. I never wanted to listen or understand what she wanted. I just wanted it to go my way, and it was so wrong of me, because it all going my way, when I go out and propose to her, it would still be my way regardless. If she, as I was letting her have a say in it, I really wasn't. I was just telling her what I was going to do, and instead of surprising it with her, she already knew everything that was going to happen. And so anytime that we would go out to do this stuff, she got her hopes up because she knew how I was going to propose. And when it never came, it tore her apart. There's some stuff that you have to do on your own. And I've got a great plan for Alexis, how I'm going to propose to her. And, I really, really hope I get that opportunity. But I will also understand if I never. as we went through this and we were talking about it, and I explained out, how I want to propose to my family that was sitting there, and, they loved it. It was great. And I'm not going to go into it just in case, I don't want it to get back to her or anything like that. So that way it can still be a surprise, be what it needs to be. But it is amazing, and I'm just glad that I'm getting back to the person that I once was, the romantic side of myself. That makes me feel super good that I'm having thoughts like that versus thoughts of her just leaving the whole time or cheating on me or abusing me, when in reality I was abusing myself to where she's seen it, and the stuff that she was doing to me was not nearly as bad as I was doing to myself. And it was kind of just like a gate open, like, hey, it's okay, you don't have to worry. Even though it wasn't. Abuse either way is abuse, and people fall in trap on both sides. And it's cold out today. It's pretty early too. And as the night went on and the day went on, everybody ended up leaving about 6 o'clock. And I had to go to an accountant appointment. And I really didn't want to go to this because I just felt like I wasn't very prepared. And then when I got there, it turns out that we didn't make any money last year, and the money that we did get paid was for this year. So, we got to file our taxes for next year. We got to do all this stuff for this year, write a bunch of zeros, yada yada. Anyways, that's not the point. I didn't feel lonely or bad after they left. I still felt good about myself, even though I wasn't surrounded with people that I love, because I'm learning to love myself and I'm becoming the person that I want to be. Now, I went out, I took an order, and I went to go deliver the food, and I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and play some music. The music, every single song, and it was so weird. No matter what radio station I went to, every song that was played on that radio station is a song that Alexis and I had sent each other in the beginning of our relationship with how we feel about each other. And it started making me tear up, but I didn't feel lonely. I didn't feel bad. I was, if anything, I felt a little bit of happiness as the universe is showing me, the good things about our relationship, and it's showing me that we're able to get a little bit closer and we're able to do stuff together again. And I started crying a little bit because the song came on, by Bruno Mars, I believe it is. And it was the one where, if the world ends, I want to be right next to you, and that's the only spot that I want to be. And that one hit me pretty hard, because in reality, like, if the world started ending today, I would do everything that I can to make it up to her, to hold her hand as it starts to go. And I don't care what would get in my way, but I would do everything. And in that case, I ended up getting home. I did everything that I needed to do. I got all my stuff together and just making sure that I set myself up for success today, as I have been trying to do every single day. Change my habits, I'm trying to change my actions by changing my habits, by changing my identity. And the first step is to change your identity. And as I go through this mentorship, and I go through these courses, and I watch these videos, as I'm not to the worksheets just yet, it's putting a lot into perspective of how, I thought about people in the past. And as one person would hurt me, I would always judge other actions as if, if that's how they're going to start out in the relationship, this is what they're going to end up doing in the end. And just always putting that one person into who I believe that these new people coming into my life are going to be. You know, I've been cheated on multiple times. I've been abused, lied to, used, and I put a lot of that on Alexis, even though she didn't really start doing that stuff until I pretty much made her feel like she was already doing it. And you know, I really don't know a lot of the stuff that she did, because I always just assumed and told her, no, this is what you're doing and this is how you're acting. And I never actually listened or understood, and I just told her. And instead of actually listening to how she was feeling and the things that she was thinking, I made her believe the things that I was thinking. I made her maybe not even believe, but I put that into her mind. And then she just never wanted to talk to me. She never wanted to share the stuff with me, and that is my fault. It's not because, you know, I didn't ask. I asked all the time, but anytime I would ask, I would always tell her, no, that's not the way you're feeling. This is the way you're feeling when you're talking about it. And that's just, it's so wrong. And so as I slept through the night, I ended up waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning with another dream. And this dream is going to be one of the hardest things for me to ever say, especially share it with the world. Because at first it's going to seem like a bad dream. But in the end, your dreams are there because your mind is trying to sort through stuff. And you have to decide how you look at that dream. And for me, I looked at it as a learning experience. Something that kept me up for a half hour after I woke up, because I didn't really know what to think. So at 4 a.m. I woke up, and the dream was about me, my ex, and one of my good friends. And we were sitting there hanging out in a place that seemed familiar, but I couldn't really tell you where it was. But we were all sitting on a bed, and we were just hanging out, laughing, having fun. And they start talking about playing a game, and I was like, I don't want to play that game. So I got up, and I ended up walking out of the room, and I come back in, and they're playing this game. And this game is, you know, you touch elbows, and you lean into each other's face. And this is a game that I made up. Never played it, never heard of it, never seen anybody ever do it. It's a game that I completely made up in my head, as that is going to be a very important part to the story as well. And as you lean in and you stare into each other's eyes, you have this feeling. You have this feeling of wanting to kiss each other, and the first person that kisses each other removes an article of clothing. And good morning. And as they were playing this game, I walked into the room. They were still fully clothed, and they were leaning in, about to give each other a kiss. And I said, hey, what's going on? They said, oh, we're just playing a game. I was like, all right. So I sat there and I watched them. They leaned in, they gave each other a kiss, and ended up, you know, one person ended up taking the clothes off. I guess I can mention it, but it ended up being my friend taking the first clothes off. And I sat there and I was like, what the hell is going on? So I just left the room, and I went back, and I grabbed my friend and I pulled him off. And I didn't yank him or anything. I literally just grabbed him and said, hey, hold on, what's going on here? And she looks at me and says, it's complicated. And in that sense, I woke up right away. And I sat there and I thought about it. And at first, of course, I was like, oh man, this is my belief. This is what I'm telling myself. And I'm just fucking, and I started being a little bit down, and I was like, wait a second, this is just a dream. This is not the truth. What is this dream trying to tell me? And I sat there and I thought about it, and all it was telling me in that time is that I'm still thinking bad thoughts, that I still have stuff going through my head that is trying to make me believe stuff that's just not real, it's not happening. And I didn't even really realize this until I woke up the second time after getting back to sleep of what the actual true thing is. But in my head at that time, I was like, you're still trying to say something that's just not true. You're still trying to prove to yourself something that just isn't real. Like, it's all just stuff that you're trying to keep yourself from being the person that you want to be. And in the end, a dream is information sorting through your head, which is the beliefs that you have. So it is true. That is definitely the fact that it is my brain telling me that this is what a truth is and when it's not. So I did think bad about myself. I did think bad about others. I did portray shit that happened in the past onto others, even though it was a different game. I then woke up and I came to the realization that, and this is what I wrote down in my journal too, because this is the actual truth, is that I was a person that walked out. I was a person that walked away. I was the one that didn't want to play the game. I was the one that didn't want to be there. I was the one that thought the worst and encouraged it to happen. I was the one that made the mistakes to not open up and to not understand and listen. I was the one that drove her to be the person that she turned out to be, as I just made her miserable. And as I made myself miserable, she became more miserable. I'm learning now, and I'm starting to understand that these thoughts in my head are not truths. These thoughts in my head, there's millions of them, and I need to pay attention to them, and I need to put them together, and I need to learn from them for my own being. It's not about the actual outside world, because there's nothing that you can change on the outside world. There's only stuff that you can change on the inside, and the world will follow. If I had stayed in there and I had played this game, the person that would have walked out the room would have been my friend. It wouldn't have been me. And I would have more of an understanding. I would be closer with the person that I want to be close to. And I would still have a friend. And I wouldn't be doing all these bad things or saying bad things to myself, believing stuff that just isn't true and would never be true unless I force it all in there. So it didn't matter who the person was sitting on that bed. It didn't matter where we were. The only thing that mattered is I was not that person sitting on that bed due to my own faulty mindset, due to my own stuff that happened in the past that I portray on other people. I'm so sorry for the way that I treated myself and the way that I've treated others in the life that I have lived up until I'm 29 years old. And as I continue to go through and I actually see the brighter side, and I actually try to understand what's happening instead of just go with the assumption to believe that's the truth, I smile more. Even in situations like that, it didn't hurt me seeing that stuff happen in my head. What hurt me is that I was not willing to be the person that I wanted to be. What hurt me is the fact that I have been hiding who I am, and I haven't been being who I am. And that right there will show me that it doesn't matter who the girl in the bed is, it doesn't matter who the guy in the bed is. The only thing that matters is you're not the person being there for the one that you want to be there for. And it's ridiculous to push yourself away and assume stuff and believe stuff that's not true. because all it's going to do is hurt you more in the end. And it might not matter to some people, but it is going to hurt other people out there as well. You have to be the best that you can be, and that is always going to be decided on you, whatever you think the best is. So here on the run, we're gonna change this up, and I'm gonna change it over to on the go, because obviously we're not just running, we're walking, we're on the go, and I plan on doing more than just walking and running. I want to do some biking. I want to do swimming, marathon. I want to go and do a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to share my life with you guys while I do these things. And eventually I expect to be going to different spots every day. I'm not going to sit here and walk down the same road, the same area all the time. And we're going to start that out tomorrow. We're going to go somewhere else, and we're going to just walk in a different area. On the run, and I should say on the go, we're not running from our problems, and we're not sitting there looking at our problems and making those our truths, because our problems are only internal. So on the run, we're here to fix our problems. We're here to fix ourselves, and we're here to grow together. So don't be afraid to share your story. Don't be afraid to let people in, because it's honestly one of the best things that you can ever do. Be yourself. Be who you want to be, and don't let anybody tell you that you cannot be whatever you want. All it does is take time, effort, and you have to keep putting your foot forward. Don't give up. On the run, we run to fix our problems.